There's a really weird thing going on in The Shining.
I'm intrigued.
Well, several weird things, but I want to focus on the blinking the characters do, specifically Jack and the ghosts.
Great party, isn't it?
The first thing is that the ghosts almost never blink.
That's strange, sir.
I counted a total of 4 in the whole movie. The humans, on the other hand, blink pretty much normally throughout, but one character changes significantly from the beginning to the end in this regard. Jack, naturally.
Anything you say.
Humans blink about 13,500 times a day, about 14 times per waking minute, much more frequently than is necessary for just lubricating the eyeballs. We also do it for social and cognitive reasons. Excessive blinking can indicate stress, accounting for Wendy's or possibly Shelley Duvall's excessive blinking.
The stress of the role was so great, so I resented Stanley at times because he pushed me, and it hurt.
On the other hand, confidence and concentration can lower one's blink rate.
Here's Johnny!
There also seems to be something about the Shining ability that affects this. Halloran and Danny blink pretty normally when they're talking, but when they're experiencing powerful psychic connections, they virtually stop. For example, when Danny calls Halloran across the country, the ghosts, perhaps having a constant psychic connection to the hotel, exhibit similar behavior.
Orders from the house.
Grady and Lloyd don't blink even once, despite having a good deal of screen time. That might be an actorly choice. Stanley Kubrick may have told them not to, or cut around it in the editing room. Whatever the reason, it enhances their uncanniness that Kubrick was going for. Additionally, it emphasizes their singular goal of bringing Jack and hopefully his family into the fold of the Overlook.
Your son has a very great talent.
The entry price? Your soul.
My goddamn soul. Just a glass of beer.
Acclaimed film editor Walter Murch called blinks the end of a character's thought and the start of a new one. Grady and Lloyd's unblinking, therefore, implies their complete and total focus on this one thing, unbothered and unworried by anything else. A nice but unrealistic goal for a human.
Shoveling out driveways, working a car wash. Yeah, that appeal to you.
As Jack is gradually seduced by the hotel,
I love it. I've never been this happy or comfortable anywhere.
No charge to you, Mr. Torrance.
and its implicit promise of a happy, guilt-free afterlife, his blinking slowly aligns with the ghosts. After some back-of-the-napkin math, I found that his blink rate declines markedly over the course of the film. He's not only feeling more secure and focused in his mission the longer he's there,
I give you my word,
but is becoming more and more like the ghosts themselves, whose ranks he wants to and eventually joins. Even in death, his eyes remain open. And of course, in this picture of the timeless 1921 party, his eyes will never blink again, as he, like Lloyd and Grady, is now part of the Overlook, and will presumably help recruit its next victim. All this talk about eyes and souls evokes the old phrase, the eyes are the windows to the soul, suggesting here that the souls of these men now belong exclusively to the hotel. They can never close them and shut off that connection.
Well, that sounds fine to me.
Let's now go over the reason for Mr. Grady having two first names.
my predecessor in this job hired a man named Charles Grady as the winter caretaker.
What do they call you around here, Jeezy?
Grady, sir. Delbert Grady.
A clue is in the verbiage the ghosts use. The ghosts refer to Jack exclusively by his last name.
Yes, it is Mr. Torrance.
Indeed he is, Mr. Torrance.
Drink up, Mr. Torrance.
You give your word on that deal, Mr. Torrance?
The only ones who use his first name are other humans.
Jack.
That's very good, Jack.
Jack?
Good morning, Jack.
Mr. Torrance is the eternal caretaker.
You've always been the caretaker.
His first name changes as often as he's reincarnated.
When I came up here for my interview, it was as though I'd been here before.
Been away, but now I'm back.
Good evening, Mr. Torrance.
Wendy, I'm home.
But to the hotel and its ghosts, he'll always be Mr. Torrance.
Good evening, Mr. Torrance.
Good evening.
This 1921 version might be Herb or Fred Torrance, just like the 1921 Grady is.
Delbert Grady.
The first names come and go, but the last names last forever. Finally, it seems that when you help the Overlook by giving it victims, it sort of celebrates. Jack's murder motivates these haunting vocals, as if the ghosts are waking up and rejoicing, especially after receiving a powerful Shining user like Halloran, and urging Jack for more.
Danny boy!
The hotel also seems to erase the memories of its helpers' crimes, for those could be distracting when your sole focus, get it, sole focus, should be recruiting ever more helpers.
No charge to you, Mr. Torrance.
This whitewashing of history
Killed his family with an axe.
I don't have any recollection of that at all.
might also be Kubrick underlining the old saying, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. So this Mr. Torrance, like Grady, doesn't remember his crimes and is therefore going to repeat them, possibly in an endless cycle.
Ever.
Making the final image even more disturbing.
Midnight with the stars and you, midnight and a rendezvous.